Today we'll be featuring a promo video with the FIFA tournament. We'll also be featuring a story on LMSD, elementary school recess policies, as well as our continuous segment, Liquid Sports. With the honest segment regarding field trips.
That's all right now, live from the Harriton High School television studio in Rosemont, Pennsylvania. This is the Ram Report.
Hello, I'm Ben Feldman.
Along the Sewell Kim.
For today's Ram Report, we have 3 Ram Reports left in the year, including today's. We begin today's show with one of Ricky's last scoops. Ricky?
Thanks, Ben. If you or your classmates feel that you've gone on less field trips recently, you're not alone. Since new field trip policies have been put in place, the number of field trips in the district has decreased by over 25%. This according to a statistic given at a Lower Merion School District Operations Committee meeting on March 29th. The presentation, which is available publicly online, says that there is a decrease in field trips, 287 fewer in the 2015-2016 school year than the previous year. Notably, the slide is labeled Cost Savings Efficiencies. It lists ways in which the district's transportation department, which is in charge of busing, has cut costs. I've learned that the 287 decrease in field trips has saved the district $57,000 in purely transportation costs. The reason for the decrease is the result of new restrictions that make it harder for teachers to make field trips happen. I reached out to district spokesperson Doug Young to find out if the district had been trying to cut down the number of field trips as a way to cut costs. He said that, and I quote, "Much of the change is probably attributable to district following Board Policy 121, which includes oversight by a field trip committee. There has been no intentional effort to reduce the number of trips. Board Policy 121, which I hold here, which was updated in late 2014, it went into full effect the following school year, which is when the field trip decrease occurred. The policy essentially makes it so that teachers have to go through a lot more in able to get field trips approved and for them to actually occur. Teachers tell me that this has discouraged them from planning field trips. Among the changes are that there's a number of changes include a decrease in the number of days that field trips are allowed to occur on and a variety of medical changes. Students have noticed in recent years the increase in medical forms that come with field trips. The $57,000 savings I mentioned earlier did not include the increase in costs that have occurred as a result of the change in policy. Doug Young told me, quote, there are also costs related to health services. We now need to provide a nurse for each field trip and other program expenses that may be a little more difficult to pull together, end quote. Other roadblocks for those putting field trips together include that only 8 buses for field trips are available each day. Another factor in all of this regards overnight trip, as teachers and club advisors' expenses are no longer covered by the district with a few exceptions. Board Policy 135 reads that, quote, with the exception of substitute teacher costs, overnight student trips are not subsidized by the annual budget of the school district. I'm told that that the expected number of field trips in the district will further decrease this year, albeit slightly. Reporting for HHS TV, I am Ricky Reports.
Thanks, Ricky. In more Lower Merion School District news, elementary schools are switching up recess. For more on the story is Emily Wright.
This is Emily Wright reporting for HHS TV. Recently, as of March 2017, a collection of recommendations regarding LMSD's elementary school recess procedures has been submitted to our Board of School Directors, as well as LMSD's very own parents and students. The most impactful portion of the proposal recommends that elementary school recess times be extended for 15 minutes. Other recommendations include the establishment of recess as a necessary component of the school day rather than a privilege that can be taken away. The initiative is set to begin its effectiveness during the 2017-2018 school year, after it is reviewed this month. If you'd like to find out more regarding the recommendations, you can visit lmsd.org's newsroom page to access the article. Thanks, and once again, this is Emily Wright reporting for HHS TV.
Zenith is Harriton's art magazine, if you couldn't tell from the posters hanging around the school. If you haven't submitted your artwork yet, you're still encouraged to do so. Here's a promotional video submitted by Zenith.
Wondering if we ever get this high.
This Thursday, there will be a charitable FIFA tournament run by Harriton students. Here is a promotional video for the tournament.
Damn, Missy Mari got
As many of you recall, our own Ricky Sayer has been doing a multi-part series on enrollment growth. What follows is part 5 in the series, where Ricky investigates the church at Walsh Valley.
Before enrollment even became a large issue, the district jumped at the chance to buy one of the school's adjoining properties. They bought the former St. Justin's Church in 2013 for just over $2 million.
No, we bought it because of the opportunity. This whole area is built out, so the opportunity to buy a significant piece of land adjacent to something that we already own was too good to pass up. So we didn't have any specific plans in mind. We just knew that if that was on the market, we should buy it.
The church provided a possible solution for the district in 2012, when officials realized they needed at least 12 more classrooms at Walsh Valley. The church, a structure the district owned right next to the school, looked like the obvious choice to contain these classrooms. Plans were drawn up showing 8 new classrooms inside the church and 8 more classrooms as part of an addition to the building. But as Mr. Ganan explained to me, things did not go as planned.
It's just too far away to bring it in, to integrate it properly into the rest of the buildings, and then it has a limited amount of space based on what's there. And of course, it's an older building, so we'd have to put money in to bring everything up to code.
So the church was off the table as a location to build classrooms for Walsh Valley. The idea that the church could end up as classrooms isn't dead yet. It could be used as part of a new elementary school or as a kindergarten center. But as Mr. Ganan explained to me, that isn't likely either. Is there something weird about that building itself that makes it really hard to put classrooms in it?
Yes, it was designed as a church, not a school building.
It appears that the church will stay a storage space for the foreseeable future, but just because the inside of the building isn't being used to teach students, it doesn't mean the outside of the building isn't valuable. The former church parking lot has provided parents a space to drop off and pick up students. Before the district bought the church, parents could only drop off and pick up students on Tower Lane, which often caused unsafe conditions. The church's rectory was torn down to provide the school an additional playing field. Some have floated the idea that the site be used to park buses. It's important to note that it's not part of any official plan. Reporting for HHS TV, I am Ricky Reports.
At the Harriton Senior Prom, a special guest showed up, the Philly Fanatic. This was at the Reading Terminal Market a little over a week ago. Our own Ricky Sayer was there, with his camera of course, and took this video. His appearance. Miss Mark Hewson was seen dancing with the Fanatic.
Harriton sophomore Nita Gold won a Cappy for a performance in Woman on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. Here is the video from the Cappies.
And here in my apartment for a buck a week, and I think down I can't be so glad. I know you think I'm overly romantic, but you wouldn't believe it, but next thing we had, like immediately I was ready for him to meet my mom. Peppa, are you there? Are you there? Are you okay? You're not there, but we need to talk. Peppa, okay, I'm trying you again this afternoon. It's like my eyes are gonna pop if I don't get you soon. I think he had to see the keeping up, but hey! I'm on the freaking phone! Please call me back. Peppa? Peppa?
Once again, that was for Nita's performance. And now we go to Nick in the studio with sports. Nick?
Senior 4 took second in the Stotesbury Cup Regatta. Rowing for the senior team was Anna Daly Gibson, Fiona Maruka, Amelia Reiser, and Ellie Greenhall. Harriton baseball begins their title run in District 5A as the 4th seed in the tournament. They clinched to share the Central League title with an 8-2 win against Pencrest. With 2 home games this week and 2 wins, they would be headed to the States. They drew and will play against the 13 seed Strathaven at home at 4 p.m. today, and with a win, they will likely play against the team they split the Central League with, Central League powerhouse Springfield Delco, who the boys recently slaughtered 8-0. Good luck to them in that game. Unfortunately, the girls' lacrosse season has ended after a 14-10 loss at O.J. Roberts High School, but the girls have hope for the future as great play from their young roster continues. They did win a home playoff game this year, 20-12 on the back of 9 goals from junior Greta Stahl against Souderton. Finally, I would like to applaud Tasha Green for her victory in the Central League title race for the mile. Here's a video of that. Not a very good close race in the end, as you can see. Now I'll go back to Ben at the news desk.
Well, it sounds like a good game, Nick. That'll be all for today's show. Signing off, this is Ben Feldman.
And Asul Kim.
From all of us here at HHS TV, thanks for watching the Ram Report.